Hello, Capricorn. Sometimes, just a moment of stillness amidst the noise of life is enough to hear what your soul is quietly trying to say, and this moment might be exactly that. There's an energetic field shifting around you. Not loud, but undeniable, like a frequency humming softly through your 10th house. The place where you seek direction, identity, and something called achievement. And then that feeling arrives, like sunlight after days of gray skies. Recognition, affirmation, a kind of success that doesn't shout, but runs deep. You may not see it clearly yet, but your ruling planet, Saturn, is leading you through a new phase, a chapter called To Be Seen. But along with that light comes a fork in the road, a question, a choice. It might be about your career, it might be about finances, but on a deeper level, it's you asking, which path truly fits me? What's sturdy enough to build for the long haul? And is there someone truly walking the same direction with me? This phase might be activating your 2nd or 6th house in your natal chart, the zones related to personal values and how you work. That's why the choices you make now won't just impact your present. They'll set the tone for a new cycle that could last for years. But the energy you're carrying isn't only yours. There's another influence orbiting around, maybe from someone in the past, or a deep connection that hasn't been closed. They don't need to show up physically, but their energy is still very much intertwined with yours. And that is creating an invisible knot in your decision-making process. Looking at the current astrological landscape, you might be under the influence of a powerful transit, for example, square between your progressed moon and Saturn, or Pluto in your natal chart. It creates a sense that you need to calculate carefully, to look deeply before stepping forward. There's opportunity, there's an offer, there's someone reaching out, but you sense if you take the wrong step now, it'll be hard to turn back. And that's true, this isn't the time to gamble. This is the time to align with the plan of your soul. For Capricorn, a sign that carries great responsibility, every move needs a worthy reason. But this time, you also need one more thing: intuition. It seems a certain invitation is on its way to you. It could be a collaboration, it could be a project, or it could be a connection that was left unresolved. The energy around you is being activated by planets like the Sun, Jupiter, and possibly Uranus, bringing in strong, sudden waves of change, full of potential. And you know, this isn't just about work. I'm sensing the energy of a person, someone who might have been a mentor, a companion, a competitor, or a past lover. And this time, they're not coming back just to check in. They're here with a purpose, an offer, or maybe an explanation. But the outside doesn't match the inside. They may appear stable, clear, full of promise, yet your astrological energy is incredibly sensitive right now. You might have progressed planets transiting your 12th house, where intuition is heightened and you feel something is being hidden. No proof, but enough to keep you cautious. On another level, what you're facing could be tied to a group, a community, or a shared dream once planted. Influences from the 11th house or aspects to Uranus might be pulling you into a network where not everyone plays by the rules. There's hope, yes, but also tension. You may feel like the only one carrying the weight, while others remain vague and non-committal. And someone, perhaps an old figure or someone in a key role, is affecting your progress. The kind of person whose words make it hard to tell where truth ends and emotional manipulation begins. Some Capricorns right now may be feeling the effects of Neptune, especially if it's moving through the 7th or 12th house, casting a mist over intimate connections. You can sense something's off. Maybe it's quiet competition, maybe a promise not kept, maybe an offer that sounds good but leaves you feeling out of control. Influences from the 2nd 8th house axis or the Taurus-Scorpio polarity might be making you pause to ask, am I being manipulated? Am I trading too much of myself for this? But Capricorn, only you can make the final call. And this decision, like many Saturnian lessons, isn't about winning. It's about standing in your rightful place on the path of growth. Sometimes saying no is how you honor your intuition. Sometimes stepping back is how you preserve your self-respect. Your soul is whispering, this isn't over yet. There's a layer not yet revealed, something still unclear, something asking you to pause rather than push forward. And the current astrological energy, especially for Capricorns with 12th house transits, signals a time when decisions should be made in silence, without noise, without haste, but with inner certainty, because what you're walking toward is something big, something lasting, something that could shape the next 5 years of your life. And before you say yes or no, ask yourself, is what I truly want to build still aligned with what they are offering? As you quietly observe, something begins to reveal itself. A sign, a message, a shift. If progressed Mercury or Venus is moving through your 3rd or 7th house, or forming a sextile with Jupiter, you might receive a message, an offer, or an unexpected conversation that opens more than you anticipated. It could be related to family, finances, an old project, or a commitment once set aside. What matters is it stirs something within you fast, intense, and hard to ignore. If you've once loved too quickly, chosen too quickly, or invested too quickly, the regret may return now in the form of a second chance. But you are no longer who you were. Pluto is nearing the end of its transit in your sign. You, someone who has endured many transformations, are now approaching the recovery phase. The next 6 months will be your time to move away from old confusion toward greater clarity. With the 4th, 10th house axis being activated, you're sensing a shift. From instability to peace, from suppression to freedom. A new stopping point. Lighter, clearer, and more trustworthy is beginning to take shape. Before you get there, a decision awaits. The indecision is fading. You may have once stood between 2 choices, but now, with Venus or Mars forming a trine or sextile with your natal sun, you're leaning toward one side. No longer floating. It might be a connection that once kept you waiting. Now the transiting moon passing through your 7th house or making an aspect to Neptune brings clarity. Something clicks within you, deeply, unmistakably. Your soul says, I understand now. Maybe it's why you once chose wrong, why they walked away, or maybe it's about yourself. And for the first time you feel it without needing to explain. Venus is illuminating your emotional map, and you can finally hear your own voice. You're standing between 2 energetic fields. One is the long-term commitment you've built carefully, the other is the longing to step into something new. Maybe you want to start over, but you're scared. Because you've started over before, and it hurt. Uranus or Neptune transiting your 5th or 7th house might be prompting you to break old patterns in love. You're beginning to ask, is this person still on the same frequency? Still aligned with who I've become? Still willing to move at the same pace? The nurturing, stabilizing energy that once helped you keep everything safe is now shifting. You're realizing some relationships that once felt like home are now just holding you back. You're starting to see clearly who loves you with their mind and who understands you with their heart. You may be in a mismatched relationship, where the other lives by logic, while you, once believing yourself to be strong and self-sufficient, now find yourself longing to be truly understood just once. The energy is rising. Saturn's return cycle is bringing a karmic lesson. Where are you choosing from within yourself? A decision is approaching, and this time, if you choose, you won't look back. Because now you understand deeply enough not to choose from your wounds anymore. Capricorn, this isn't about ending a relationship. It's a moment for you to ask yourself, do I still truly belong here? When the personal planets gradually move out of your 12th house and step into the 1st, that's the clearest signal that your journey is shifting direction. Not because you've run out of love or someone has hurt you, but because your soul has reached a different level of awareness. And what you need most now is to choose yourself. Before moving forward, there's something you cannot skip: clearing the old energetic residue. Your physical space might be messy, but it's the emotional leftovers that truly hold you back. The unsaid conversations, the times you smiled just to get past the pain, and those half-hearted forgivenesses, they're all waiting for you to revisit. If the 6th, 12th house axis is being activated, this is the moment to cleanse, both physically and spiritually. Not because you're weak, but because you need space for something new to enter. As Venus and Saturn start to form aspects, you begin to feel the pressure of taking responsibility for what has passed. No one is completely right, and no one is entirely wrong. If you want to go far with someone, the first step is to honestly reflect on yourself with real sincerity. The first seventh house axis is urging you not just to look at the other person, but to clearly see what you've been carrying in your emotional baggage. And sometimes, the truth isn't easy to hear, but it's the only thing that truly needs to be said. You might soon receive a signal from someone you thought you'd forgotten, or from a part of yourself rising to the surface. Mercury making an aspect to Neptune could bring unexpected messages, conversations you didn't see coming, or a powerful intuitive wave you can't ignore. This is no longer the time for hidden meanings. Everything is becoming clear, not through words, but through how you feel when someone reappears. Sometimes, what you need to know isn't in the sentence, it's in the heartbeat. As the 4th, 10th house axis gets stirred, you begin to understand there are things you simply can't hold on to by force. You've waited, you've hoped that someone would understand, would change, or at the very least would stay. But astrology doesn't teach you how to cling. It teaches you how to let go without breaking. Uranus is giving you a lesson in freedom. What's truly yours won't require you to hold on so tightly, and what keeps drifting away may have never belonged to you in the first place. But if you think everything has ended, Pluto gently whispers, not yet. There's still something unfinished, maybe an apology, an unfulfilled dream, or simply the way you look back on your past. If Mercury retrograde is about to pass through your 3rd or 7th house, that unfinished conversation may return, not to reopen old wounds, but to bring closure with clarity. Sometimes, one sincere word is enough for a peaceful ending. Saturn in the 6th house is quietly reminding you of the power of inner discipline. No need for grand decisions, no need for dramatic change, just the steady commitment to small daily choices. An honest message, a slow morning, a moment of sitting with yourself. This is no longer the time of trying hard to be loved, but the phase where you choose to live authentically and let your energy guide the right people to you. Discipline is your loyalty to what you know is good for you. If it feels like your efforts haven't produced visible results yet, remember, Saturn works in silence. You've planted seeds and the roots are growing deep. Others may not see it, but you know something inside you has shifted. And Capricorn, you don't need proof because you can feel the rise from within. This journey, then, the universe places a question before you. Are you ready to adjust? Not because you were wrong, but because the old path no longer fits. Maybe you need to love differently, listen differently, or respond in a new way to the things that once hurt you. When Uranus forms aspects with Venus or Jupiter, unexpected changes may come, only to lead you to where you truly belong. You don't need the right person, you just need to be right with yourself. Neptune invites you to pause, not to give up, but to listen. This isn't a time for decisions. It's a time to sit with the questions. No panic, no rush, just presence. And then, what you need will arrive, not through logic, but through inner stillness. Your intuition is waiting for you to come home. And finally, but most importantly, nothing is fixed right now. When planets move through your 12th house, it may feel like everything is being delayed, but in truth, this is the stillness before the unfolding. You have more than one option. And this time, you're invited to choose, not because you must, but because you're ready. Capricorn, before you step through this new door, the universe whispers one last thing, not to hold you back, but to remind you. Don't let old habits trip you again. If Saturn is retrograde or Pluto is pressing on your 1st or 12th house, this could be the moment when unhealed patterns return as your final test. Not to scare you, but to help you walk through it with clarity. The universe isn't stopping you from beginning again. On the contrary, Saturn, your ruling planet, is opening a new cycle for those who dare to move forward with awareness. Whether it's an old relationship, a paused project, or a part of you that you had forgotten, you can begin again. But this time, move slowly, move consciously, and listen to your intuition, because it's more accurate now than ever. An opportunity is approaching. It could be in your career, or it could be an emotional connection. With Jupiter, Saturn, and the 10th house being activated, you're standing at a turning point, one that could launch you into an entirely new role. But the bigger the opportunity, the more clarity is needed. Being able to tell what's real and what's just an illusion is the key right now. If you've been building a shared dream with someone, or are part of a group that has lost its direction, now is the time to ask, do they still share the same vision? Are they as committed as you are? Uranus in the 11th house will push you to be honest, either let go or completely renew it. Halfway won't work anymore. Beneath your dream of stability lies a fear of making the wrong choice again. If you're under a Neptune square to your Sun or Venus, your options may appear blurry. But fog only slows you down. It doesn't lead you astray. Just pause long enough to truly feel what is real and what is only a reflection of fear. The universe gently reminds you, don't trust too quickly, but don't shut down your heart too soon either. You've lived enough to know not every promise needs to be heard, and not everyone who comes back deserves your waiting. If you're still holding on to faith, let it begin with yourself. Trust that you can keep going, not because someone chose you, but because this time you choose right. Starting with yourself. And then 3 major astrological archetypes converge. Pluto for awakening, Saturn for justice, and Uranus for the closing of old cycles. A karmic phase is ending. You're no longer carrying the wound, no longer straining to prove anything. You're stepping into a new chapter with clarity, awareness, and compassion for yourself. And if someone chooses you, after all this, look at them with the eyes of someone who has grown beyond their pain. No more need for control, no more need to rescue, just the presence of 2 people, willingly standing side by side. Capricorn, you've almost completed a full cycle, and now the universe isn't rushing you, it's simply inviting you to pause and choose with awareness. If you feel like your heart is reaching a place that's deeply quiet yet deeply real, if you know it's time to move forward, even with a hint of hesitation, then leave a comment, I'm ready to receive. Because the moment you write it, a new door will begin to open. And if you're searching for a place to return to whenever your heart feels uncertain, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss the messages waiting for you ahead. Because this journey, you don't have to walk it alone. We are walking it together, slowly but deeply.